Well, we already talked about Juan Soto. Let's talk a little bit about non-Soto. Other free agents that are out there. We've got a number of them this year, and headlined by Roki Sasaki. We got Blake Snell, Christian Walker, Pete Alonso, Gleyber Torres. For those of you who are listening, I've got a list of free agents here. We'll save Roki Sasaki for later. Blake Snell, where do you think he's going? Where do you think he's ended up?
I don't really know. He kind of just went to the Giants, I guess, because they gave him the best offer that he could have gotten at the time. I think Boris really kind of messed up his whole free agency. That whole year, all the Boris clients didn't do that well. I think Jordan Montgomery even fired him.
Yeah,
I feel like he's going to come back to the AL East. I
I
expect
agree.
Toronto. I expect Toronto to be a player. Baltimore, especially since Burns is a free agent for them. I think Baltimore will be in the mix. I even see Boston as a potential fit. They're kind of laying in the weeds there. They got a lot of young talent coming up through the system, ready to spend some money. So I don't think he's coming to the Yankees though.
Yeah, I've got him going to the Toronto Blue Jays, and a couple of reasons for that. One, Toronto's got a very short winning window, and
Yeah.
they're going to try and be aggressive. A lefty in the AL East, obviously, you got the Yankees have struggled against lefties. Depending on what they do, they'll probably struggle against lefties again unless they get another bat. And the Orioles have that deep left field. So, I mean, as a Blue Jay, he'd be pitching, against two division rivals who could potentially struggle against lefties. What about Christian Walker? The Yankees have been linked to him, over the last several weeks. I'm not a big Christian Walker guy. I'm not a fan of signing guys that are going to be 34 years old. But we'll talk more about the first base situation in a minute. But what are your thoughts on Christian Walker?
Yeah, I'm in lockstep. A great player, but I'm not, again, in favor of signing a guy that's 34 years old. This is going to be the back end of his career. I think we could potentially have an Anthony Rizzo situation there where Rizzo, great guy, love him in the clubhouse and stuff. He had a great career with the Cubs, but when we got to the Yankees, I think he was good, and then he kind of steadily declined from there. I myself wouldn't spend the money on first base. First base is one of those positions where I think it's a low value position. It's one of the reasons why Pete Alonso is not going to get $40 million a year is because he's a first baseman. It's kind of like that in the NFL with running backs. Running backs don't get paid. I don't really think first basemen get paid all that much. It's kind of a thin position, really. So I myself lean towards, call me crazy, but I think they're definitely going to go with, DJ LeMahieu, Ben Rice. They're going to be in the mix at first base, and we'll address it at the deadline if it's a real issue. That's kind of what I think they're going to go to. I'm okay with giving Ben Rice the run until the deadline.
Let me just recenter the conversation here. Where do you think Christian Walker's going? This is a free agent prediction segment.
Where is he going? Yeah, I it's hard to tell. Like, I honestly, back to the Diamondbacks. I
Yeah.
don't see him leaving. Like, I think he just stay at the D-backs. There isn't really a team out there that I think, maybe the Mets if they lose Alonso, but probably stays with the D-backs. Honestly, I think he's
Yeah.
comfortable playing.
That's what I have too. And I also have Pete
Yeah.
Alonso going back to the Mets. Let's talk about Gleyber Torres. Where do you think he's going to fit? Because we haven't really heard
Oh,
much talked about him.
I have a team very much that I think he's going to. I think he's going to Seattle.
I also
I
have the
think,
Mariners written down here on my
yeah.
notes. Yeah.
Yeah, guys, we haven't compared notes. This is totally blind, by the way.
Yeah.
So we just think alike, I guess. But I have him going to Seattle. They don't have a lot of bats, great pitching. I think the smaller market's a fit for him, stays in the American League. I think he'll play great there, and they have the hole for it. I think he's just a fit there,
Yeah.
honestly.
Big outfield. I feel like his
Yeah.
batting average would jump with his
Hmm.
contact ability. I think he'd hit 290 in
Yeah.
Seattle. And they need some offense. Willie Adames, another guy, it's hard to tell. He can play short, he can play third. I could see him ending back up with the Cubs. They're trying to compete. They've got, Craig Counsell's their new manager. They're trying to, add a little bit. I could see him going back. Any thoughts on Adames?
Adames, yeah, either going to the Cubs or staying with the Brewers. I've heard the Mets are sniffing around, but they want to put him at third for some reason, even though Mark Vientos has kind of emerged as their third baseman. I don't really think that makes a whole lot of sense. Maybe the Blue Jays. I don't really think Bo Bichette has been that reliable for them. I think the Blue Jays, again, trying to compete, especially if they miss out on Juan Soto because they've checked in on him. I could see Adames going to the Blue Jays. I think I'll go with Toronto.
What about Alex Bregman?
This is a really interesting one because he's a career Astro and he's really kind of associated with the whole scandal. I think that fan bases, especially Yankee fans, obviously really think of him as that. I don't really see him leaving Houston. I think that they're a pretty good fit, but I don't really know the direction they're going to want to go in if they want to trim some payroll and maybe they think he's a declining player. He's a pretty undersized third baseman. I think he almost profiles better as like a second baseman or even put him in the outfield if he can play it. But I think I see him staying in Houston. I don't think that he'll be leaving Houston.
Let's pull up Alex Bregman's numbers. I don't think he's leaving either. I think
Yeah,
he's going to stay in Houston. They still got a pretty good ball club, and his swing is meant for that Crawford box in left field.
yeah,
He doesn't hit the ball the other way much. Like, if he came to Yankee Stadium, I think his power numbers would drop. And like you said, this 2017 Astros scandal, just a stench attached to him that I don't think
yeah.
Brian Cashman wants to touch. What about Max Fried? We've heard about the Braves being linked to him, the Rangers obviously linked. I wouldn't be shocked if he stayed with the Braves, but I also wouldn't be shocked if he took a big contract elsewhere. I could see him going to the Dodgers. Dodgers could use some pitching, honestly, more than they could use Juan Soto. I could see them spending big on pitching, and him or Corbin Burns or Yusei Kikuchi. Like, those are the types of guys that I could see the Dodgers investing in.
No, definitely. Max Fried, again, career Brave. I think I lean towards him staying in Atlanta. I think he likes it there. But another team I think I could see him going to is San Francisco. They can't give away their money. They're probably going to lose Blake Snell. They want to replace that lefty in their rotation. I think him going to San Francisco probably makes a lot of sense for them. I don't know if Fried would be interested though.
Yeah. Be interesting to see where Fried. I could also see Fried going to the Blue Jays. Same reason that Blake Snell would go. I could see Fried going to the Orioles. I could see
Yeah,
him doing well there. I could see him going to the Yankees. Honestly, if they were
maybe.
spending on pitching, he seems like the type of guy they would go after. Tyler O'Neill, I think he's staying with the Red Sox. He's a perfect fit for the Green Monster. If he can stay healthy, I mean, he's a 40 home run guy in Boston.
Yeah,
Teoscar probably going back to the
the
Blue Jays,
Dodgers.
I would think. I mean, the Dodgers,
Ooh,
yeah.
yeah.
Dodgers, yeah. I said
He was
Dodgers.
a Blue Jay before. Yes.
Yeah, sorry, brain dead. I also said that Willie Thomas was staying with the Cubs, but I meant he was going to the Cubs.
Hmm.
I'm a little rusty, man. Take a couple of weeks off here. Take a couple weeks
It's
off,
okay.
and it's I've been on vacation all week, and yeah, I'm trying to get back in the swing of baseball here. Anthony Santander, I can see the Yankees being interested in him. I think he's the Yankees' fallback option if they lose Juan Soto.
Yeah, definitely. I think him or Teoscar would be the kind of the two
Yeah,
fallback options. If they lose out on Soto, what did he hit like 43 home runs with the Orioles somewhere around there? So pretty good player. I don't know how old he is, but that would definitely be in consideration. I think I see him staying with Baltimore. I want to say staying with Baltimore, but I could see a team like the Cubs scooping him up, maybe even the Red Sox, Blue Jays. But I think I lean towards him staying with the Orioles, unless, again, if the Yankees lose out on Soto, I think that changes a lot. And they'll be very aggressive on a guy like that if they lose on Soto. And honestly, guys, I think a lot of this hinges on where Soto goes. He's going to be the first guy that signs. I think people want to see what he signs for, where he signs, and that'll affect a lot of these kind of things right here.
yeah. You say Kikuchi. He's somebody that I kind of had on the Yankees' radar because he's a lefty and he's kind of, not super expensive. He's like that next rung down. We know that the Yankees had interest in him, trading for him a year or so ago. I'm not sure where he's going to land. I could see him ending back up with Houston. I could see him going to the Dodgers. I could see him going to the Giants to replace Snell if Snell goes elsewhere. He seems like one of those guys a lot of teams would be in on because he's not at that like $30 million range. He's like a $20 million
Yeah,
guy, maybe
yeah,
22, 23.
yeah. I love that. $20 million affordable, right?
Right? New
But
game, man.
yeah, it's a totally new game. I think Houston probably try to retain him. I could see Texas maybe getting in the mix. Maybe Seattle, San Francisco, go back to the Blue Jays. I wouldn't be that interested. He's on the wrong side of 30. I wouldn't really want to spend the 20 million on a pitcher like that. I feel like he's basically lefty version of Marcus Stroman, almost maybe a little bit
Right.
better, a tick better than that. I wouldn't really want to spend the money there. I don't know how many years he's going to want, but I think the two Texas teams, either Houston or Texas, would probably get involved.
I think he's better than a left-handed Marcus Stroman. Let me pull up his numbers here just so we can take a look. I mean, he's got a 4 ERA, which is not amazing, but he pitched better with Houston. If you scroll down and look at his numbers with Houston, 5-1 in 10 starts. So they unlocked something. And look, 76 strikeouts in 60 innings. He had 130 and 115 innings. The thing that concerns you about Kikuchi is like the innings, right? I mean, he's thrown a lot of innings.
Maybe 34 too.
34. Yeah. I wonder if he's a candidate to break down at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Corbin Burns, the big one. This one is going to be interesting. He's one of those guys I think is going to sign in February, like a week before spring training. Boris Client, everybody's going to want like the big ace pitcher. He's preparing either way, like, he's going to be getting ready and he'll just pick his team at the last minute. Man, that's tough. I could see the Blue Jays being in on him. I could see the Guardians being in on him. Like, they're so close this last year. I could see, obviously, the Dodgers are always in on everybody. Oh, man, there's so many teams where he fits. It's just about the money. I don't know if the Guardians would spend on him. It just depends on what he wants.
I have a gut feeling about him. This is one of those, I just feel like he's going there. I think he's going to the Red Sox. I think the Red Sox are missing an ace. They haven't spent money in a while. I think their fan base is kind of annoyed at them. They had a little bit better of a year than they thought they were going to have. They re-upped Alex Cora, got a lot of young guys coming through their system. They're going to be a pretty young team. I think they're missing that like ace type pitcher, especially they traded away Sale, who was never really that guy for them. But Corbin Burns to me just kind of screams Red Sox, even the way he looks, like his beard and
That's
all that.
That's a good point.
Like,
he does have that personality that
he's got that Red Sox thing about him. I think he's going to the Red Sox.
Tanner Scott, I think he's going to the Yankees. I think the Yankees are going to sign Tanner Scott. He's the best relief pitcher available. The Yankees need to replace some arms in that pen. I don't know if they're going to bring back anybody that's a free agent, like, whether it's Canely or I can see him bringing back Tim Hill because he'll be cheap. I could see him bringing back Clay Holmes, although I don't think they will. Middle relief. I don't want him closing games, but he still has pretty good stuff. But it's going to be hard to forget, those 13 blown saves and get fans excited about bringing that back. But I think Tanner Scott is coming to the Yankees. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I could see it. I think they're going to be a little bit cautious about giving out big contracts to relievers since the Britton and Chapman deals, since they did that. But I think he's a guy that you should spend the money on. A good lefty is always going to be valuable, something they've kind of lacked, in recent years. I think that Tanner Scott, and then I definitely don't think Clay Holmes is coming back. I think that there's cheaper options available. Even Clayton Beeter kind of lurking in the system if they want to turn him into a reliever. I could totally see Matt Blake turning Clayton Beeter into like the 6th, 7th inning guy who's just lights out for us.
Yeah, I worry about the arm. He had shoulder trouble down the stretch, but he did make it back. He looked good when I saw him in spring training, and obviously he made the opening day roster. He's got a Roger Clemens type of build. Like, he's just a big, strong dude. But sometimes those guys have, muscle pulls or whatever. And, like, look at Ian Hamilton, how ripped he is, and he's always getting hurt, So, final one, Jack Flaherty. L.A. kid, got traded to the Dodgers. Yankees were interested in him. I think he goes back to the Dodgers just because he's already there.
Yeah, I think he stays with the Dodgers. Maybe the Padres sniff around, but I don't think he's leaving California. It's either the Giants, the Dodgers, or the Padres if the money's right. Dodgers need the pitching. It's funny because it's like on MLB The Show they have like 10 pitchers, but just like 8 of them are hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they have so many pitchers that are good if healthy, but that's an enormous if. All their pitchers get hurt. I think they hold on to Jack Flaherty. I know the Yankees didn't like his medical, something wrong with his shoulder. But grew up a Dodgers fan.
It was his back. It was his back.
Oh, it was his back. Excuse me. So it was his back. So I think the Dodgers hold on to him. They seem to like injured pitchers. He grew up a Dodger fan, just won the World Series there. I think it's kind of a match made in heaven for them. And I guess the one name that I've seen a lot in the chat, Derek, is a guy that's not a free agent, but everyone's saying trade for Devin Williams makes sense. I think the Brewers did say he is available. I would be interested for the right package. He's got good stuff, great changeup. He kind of replaces the Tommy Kahnle in terms of stuff, except he throws a pretty good fastball.
Here's the issue with trading for a reliever. There's a lot of good relievers that you can get for just money, right? So why give up the prospects? We know that Brian Cashman is a prospect hugger. I don't think they'll do it. I can't see him trading for a big-time reliever. This was a clip from a recent podcast. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and check out the full episode.
Ball game over.
If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like and give us a subscribe. It helps other Yankees fans find the channel. We're also on all your favorite podcast platforms and social media. Join the community, have some fun. We're here after every game. This is Pinstripe Territory.